Hi, guys. Back here with Big Al McMordie. As you know, we took a day off as I was doing my bike to the beach. I'm back. I'm in one piece. I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to talk. And you know what today is? It's the 22nd, which means we are now 2 months and 1 day away from college football, Al. For all those people out there, put it on your calendar. 8/23/25. The first day, there'll be four NCAA football games on tap. And, I was going to ask you, I always forget to ask you this. What do you think it's a complete, there's four, you have preseason in football, obviously, in the NFL. Do you think it matters? Like those first, do you wait for these teams to have 2 or 3 games in college football for your handicapping because they don't have preseason, or does it not matter?
Uh, that's not the reason I wait in the NFL either. Preseason's irrelevant.
Okay.
But I tend, for my situations, the ones that work the best, I tend not to have anything week one.
Okay.
There can be some, maybe there's a revenge situation, or maybe there's something, but it's not unheard of for me to pass completely in week one.
Got it.
So yeah, that's how I do it. But
But it's not because there's no early season play.
yeah. And it's different for each sport. For example, in the NBA, I have some of my very strong. We talked about it last year. I have some of my very, very, very strongest stuff. Not necessarily game one, but say games 2 through 10.
Mm-hmm.
Early in the NBA season, I think is one of the easiest times of the NBA season to beat. I would not say that for NFL and college football. I think I'd rather wait for example, weeks 5 through 10 than weeks 1, 2, and 3. So every sport is different.
There you go. So for all you guys that are getting ready, get ready. But in the meantime, we have CFL and we have uh, baseball, and let's rock and roll. What are we doing in terms? Oh, and WNBA. Like I said, I think the
WNBA.
betting handle this year might be bigger than any year of WNBA because of Caitlin. The interest, the twittering that I see when they're not treating her fairly, they're not protecting her, foul, kicking players off teams. It's like I see your face, you can't see me. What's that
Yeah.
reaction for?
I mean, like just play and like all this drama. Like I don't even give a shit. Like
Right, exactly.
just it
It's
is
like
just so stupid.
Dave
Just
Portnoy came out. This is unbelievable. They're not protecting her. It's like, dude, who cares?
let the refs just play the game. Shut up.
Exactly.
Just
So with
I
that
don't know if
being
it's
said,
true. I don't know if it's true or not true, but we had Indiana plus I think 4 points earlier in the season against the New York Liberty. And I remember, maybe it was even Portnoy, after the game, look at this foul at the end of the game. It wasn't a fucking foul. Like the New York Liberty person stripped her of the ball. Like, give me a break. It's
exactly.
just, whatever, and we covered the spread. I was happy it didn't go into overtime, but, it's just, you know, I just don't even. I don't know.
Well,
Just let the refs ref.
before we get into the complimentary selection, we talked about the difference of home and away. I don't know if it's an injury issue. The line opened up at 9 on the Thunder initially, and then
It
got
did.
down.
It's look, the Indiana Pacers. I don't. You could characterize it any way you want to characterize it. You can say the Oklahoma City Thunder are not the dominant team that people thought they were. You can say the
Right.
Indiana Pacers are better than they thought they were. But you go back to games 1 and 2 of this series when the Thunder were favored by 10.5 for 11 points in game one, then 11.5 for 12 points in game
Right.
two. Then the next home game in game five, it was down to 9.5, if you recall. And then for this game, it's 7.5. This is a recognition that, as I just said, Oklahoma City is not as powerful as we thought, and or Indiana is better than we thought. It has nothing to do with anything else. If they put the line today at Oklahoma City minus 11.5, you would not get any money on Oklahoma City. The odds maker's goal is to try as best as possible to find a number that's going to divide the betting public. It doesn't always work, but that's the goal. And so you have to make the number 7.5. Otherwise, who the hell is going to bet on Oklahoma City at 11.5? Nobody.
Right. Good point. We don't know if you're playing that game.
I mean, if you're watching the games, yeah. And I think I could be wrong. I don't have my memory's terrible as I get older, but I think both teams are 3-3 against the spread. I could be wrong. Did any team win but not cover yet in this series?
I don't think so.
Do you know?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think every team that's won has covered. But yeah, if you would have asked most, NBA cognoscente at the start of the series, how many games do you think this series will go? I don't think a lot of people would have said 7 games.
Right. There were a lot of people saying Oak City in 4.
4, 5, 6. There's a lot of people who thought it might go 6.
I didn't watch the game, but I checked the score and I was like, "Oh, on game 6." And then I saw Briggs was tweeting because I think he had the Pacers, and he was obviously, And I was thinking, is this going to be one of this comeback games where Oak City storms back and wins the game? But that didn't happen, obviously. But it's been
well. So what? Going back to our bet we made at the beginning of the playoffs or whatever.
Right.
What is Oklahoma City's now record since we made the bet? I'm just looking: 1-7, 4-9, 5-10, 6-11, 8. They're 8-12 ATS from the point forward. We made the bet. They're 10-12 ATS in the playoffs. And it was exactly as I said, way back in the regular season. I said, come the playoffs, the Thunder are not going to be going, I said they're probably going 50-50 against the spread. Turns out they're 10-12 overall.
What was that stat you put out on Twitter about Pacers being 13-0 in some spot? It was a tweet.
Oh, God. That was a few games ago.
Was it when they were at home? They were 13-0?
I'd have to go look that up. I think it was when maybe they were off a blowout loss or something. I can't remember. I think I think it was like after losing a playoff game by 13 or more points or 12 or more points.
I got it. On 6-11, you put, after establishing the best regular season point spread record since 1990, 54, 26, and 3, the Thunder have burned money in the postseason with an 8-11 ATS record, including 0-8 ATS on the road.
They're now 1-9. They're now 1-9 ATS on the road.
Meanwhile, after rebounding from Sunday's 123-107 loss, India's 13-0 ATS, its last 13 in playoffs when revenging a 13-point or worse playoff loss. Right.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
With that being said, guys, if you want to pick up the All Access, send me a text 443-957-1006. If you're international, as always, you can send an email to eric@pickdogs.com. And once again, you can get the remainder of June, July, and August absolutely free when you sign on to be an early bird member. 2 months and 1 day away from the football season. What are we looking at as a complimentary selection this Monday?
Yeah, we talk a lot about in the NFL, a long-standing thing. You don't want to lay double digits on the road. Well, in the WNBA, you don't want to lay a lot of points, and especially not more than 14 points in a WNBA game. And that's the situation we have, at least on the overnight line, Chicago and Atlanta. The Dream are favored by 15.5 against the Chicago Sky. But if you go back, 20 seasons or whatever, WNBA teams getting 14.5 or more points have gone 95-52 ATS. So it's just one of those things, highly dangerous to lay this many points in a WNBA game. We're going to take the Chicago Sky plus the 15.5. Pay attention to the line. We're doing this overnight. If the line's 13.5 tomorrow, it kind of falls outside of that angle. But we'll take the 15.5.
Take Chicago Sky plus the 15.5. And as always, guys, good day and good luck.